The 47 wildlife trusts all across the UK are made up of local people who want to make a difference to the wildlife in their own backyards. This is the story of one remarkable local man and his ambition to create a centre for wildlife here at College Lake. It's a story that shows what can be achieved by one amazing person working together with a band of amazing volunteers.
I've always thought people have a dream for the future. Perhaps when I retire, I'm going to have a cottage with roses around the door. These things never come true. The extraordinary thing is with College Lake, it's actually happened. I was standing up there up to my knees in chalk slurry with bulldozers, 80 tons running past you, pushing this chalk slurry, thinking one day this will be a wonderful nature reserve, hundreds and hundreds of visitors will pay to come in. Wildlife will benefit. Ecologically, it will be a fantastic wildlife oasis in an agricultural desert. There will be disabled visitors, a car trail, education for the disadvantaged, and there will be a big visitor centre, and everybody thought, you know, pipe dream.
When Graham Atkins took a job driving lorries for Castle Cement, he saw a fantastic potential for wildlife in the then industrial landscape where they were quarrying for chalk. Graham saw beyond the economic value of the chalk to a nature reserve that could grow from the land. He envisioned a new kind of nature reserve, a place where wildlife was protected, a place that would inspire and educate all kinds of people, a place where everyone was welcome. Graham spent many years overcoming obstacles, converting naysayers, and inspiring a team of volunteers in order to realise his dream of turning a quarry into the serene yet thriving natural oasis that College Lake Nature Reserve is today. Today, Graham is considered a pioneer in UK conservation.
The idea was to get lots and lots of people involved, a place where they can all come, like almost a country park. So I drew up this idea in my mind that perhaps I could talk to the company who were committed to restore this quarry according to the planners, who wanted it put back to what it was, which of course is morally just. But at that time it just so happened there were milk lakes, butter mountains. They were taking good, productive land out of agricultural production. So it gave me an opportunity, because this is the poorest, bare chalk. To restore that to agricultural land costs an absolute fortune.
Because College Lake started off in the 70s a big white hole, and it was really landscaped for wildlife, but also for people, then it means that lots of people can come here, thousands of people can come here every year without actually disturbing the wildlife, and they can actually get quite close up. So that provides quite a unique opportunity, really, to introduce people who perhaps, you know, wouldn't normally, it wouldn't be part of their normal everyday life to go and bird watch or look at nature or kind of explore the countryside. But here, they can do that in a very safe environment, and an environment where they're likely to see things quite close up, you know, which are really quite exciting and inspiring.
It's the first step along a track for alleviating the damage that man has done. We feel that we've started a trend, and long may it continue, where we recover all these devastated sites.
I guess the place is slowly sort of greening up. It obviously started life as a chalk quarry, so it was, you know, when you see old pictures of it, it was pretty much a lunar landscape, bare chalk, and gradually nature kind of takes a hold and it's greening up.
Graham's conservation philosophy has always been simple: If we step back and allow it to do so, nature will always do the work. And College Lake has shown that, given the chance, wildlife can and will return to an industrial site. The lake filled with water, plants flourished, and insects, birds and mammals came back to live in this special place. Today, visitors to College Lake are greeted by the new visitor centre, where we learn about the site's history and get a feel for what is on offer on the reserve. There's even a cup of tea and a snack to enjoy before or after exploring the nature reserve.
It was a long held dream of Graham Atkins that there should be a proper visitor centre. In fact, I remember him actually standing on this spot many years ago saying, this is where we need to have a visitor centre, where people can, they can come in and they can look over the lake and they can, really get a sense of the site and of the wildlife and the birds that are here.
I can hardly believe that that is there. It is astonishing. The whole dream, I'm talking now 35, 40 years of work and a goal to work for, has actually come true. The unfortunate thing is I fell ill, if you like, before they could finish the visitor centre. So it's like watching Mum make the cake, the icing goes on, just about to put the cherry on the top, and I was forced to retire through ill health.
I came in today and went through the doors of the visitor centre, and I'd never been here. I'd never been here because when I came out with Graham, he was working for the cement company still, and it was just, as I remember it almost, a big, deep blue hole in the ground. And I stood outside what is now the visitor centre with Graham, and he was saying, right, well, we're going to have this sweep over there, and then we're going to have this, and then we're going to... I don't know. And he had no approval for this whatsoever from the Trust. He was just cracking on with it, because things... In those days, the conservation people really had to fight their personal corner. And Graham fought his, and as you can see from all this, he won in a very big way.
From the visitor centre, visitors can choose between 3 different trails that lead them around the site. Along the way, they can stop off to explore bird hides, visitor exhibitions and traditional farmland and farming equipment. At the far end of the lake, opposite the visitor centre, is Graham's most cherished feature of College Lake, the Tump.
What it looks like is an Iron Age burial mound. Just south of College Lake, we've got Pitstone Hill, full of archaeology, Iron Age hill forts, the Ridgeway, full of antiquity, beautiful downland. And from the Tump, which means a big lump of a big mound, we built this subterranean hide underneath the Tump, and it's the highest point on the reserve. And if you look south over the lake to the new visitor centre and beyond, you've got Ashridge, Pitstone Hill and the downland. The Chiltern Escarpment lays there before you. And to look over the lake with kites, buzzards, terns over the lake, it's absolutely peaceful. I could sit there all day and just watch this wonderful view in front of me unfold.
One of the most special projects here at College Lake is the plot of cornfield flowers. In the 1980s, Graham had the innovative idea to conserve the beautiful but increasingly rare flowers of the traditional cornfield. Plants like corncockle and pheasant's eye were once common in the countryside, but are now nearly extinct in the wild. However, thanks to Graham's vision, here at College Lake, visitors can view the glorious display of cornfield colour throughout the months of May and June. Graham was fascinated by the relationship between wildlife and the landscape, particularly the traditional methods of farming land. Here at College Lake, visitors can see vintage farming equipment, beautifully restored by volunteers. Many of these old machines are even used in the conservation work on the reserve, where traditional farming and wildlife continue to exist side by side.
Well, it all started with my wife, who's a keen bird watcher, and she came round here by herself and come back and said, well, it's this lovely place with birds, which you won't be interested in, but there's lots of quarry machinery, and even better, there's lots of farm machinery that needs restoring. And, well, I couldn't resist it. And that started me off, and that was 18 years ago. And I spent a few years restoring all the farm machinery, and then got into doing all the work here. And it just led from that. It's a project the whole site has had so much development that it's kept me interested all those years, and probably for many years to come.
Because of Graham's work, College Lake today is practically unrecognisable from 20 years ago.
He just inspired me with his vision for restoring all the damage that man had done to the lovely countryside, or at least making some attempt to. And I think if you look around, you can see the results of that. It really was successful.
When I first came here 20 years ago, each time I came there was a new project, some new idea that the volunteers wanted to develop that they knew would make it a little bit better for this habitat or for these particular species, and I don't think that's going to change.
People here are doing an absolutely incredible job, out of my league. When I go into the new visitor centre, I sort of feel I ought to put slippers on. I'm not used to it. I'm used to hides out of pallets and rusty nails.
It's more than just a single sort of habitat nature reserve. It's got education, it's got exhibitions, it's now got a visitor centre, it's got the arable weed project, and it's got the ordinary reserve, as you might call it.
It's just such a great place, and I love the people I work with. I mean, the volunteers that I work with are just such a great bunch. They're all so passionate about the reserve. It's just special somehow. Something about College Lake that's special when you now come in through the visitor centre, and you suddenly, this great big expanse opens up in front of you, and it's just such a wonderful view. It's good fun, I enjoy it. It's just a good job, good fun.
Today, this sort of enterprise is commonplace. Then it was unheard of. This was the very first of its kind.
Graham Atkins had a vision of what College Lake could become. His vision was made a reality by the dedication of a team of volunteers working with him and the Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire Wildlife Trust to create a nature reserve from a chalk quarry. If you support the work of the Trust as a volunteer or as a Bebout member, you are part of this story, and your support will continue to shape College Lake and ensure its future as a special place for people and wildlife.
As a place, stunning.